Trump worries NATO with obsolete comment. Frank-Walter Steinmeier said it was a contradiction of comments made days ago by Mr. Trump's incoming defense chief. In an interview in New York, Mr. Trump also said Germany's Angela Merkel made a catastrophic mistake by admitting more than 1 million migrants, and he threatened German car makers with high import tariffs. Companies including BMW, Volkswagen and Daimler have invested in factories in Mexico, where costs are cheaper, with an eye to exporting into the US market. Trump: UK doing great after Brexit vote. Comments hit shares in German car makers, but Mr. Trump said, "I would tell them to not waste their time and money unless they want to sell to other countries. That would be okay, if you want to build in Mexico. I would tell BMW, if you want to build a factory in Mexico and sell cars to the US without paying a 35% tax, forget it." Mr. Trump was giving details of his foreign policy goals in an interview with British and German newspapers, The Times and Bild, at Trump Tower in New York. Anger and dismay, but not surprise. BBC Berlin correspondent Jenny Hill: Donald Trump's comments have caused dismay, concern, but perhaps not surprise in Berlin. Few expected the new transatlantic relationship to echo the warm and trusting alliance nurtured by Angela Merkel and Barack Obama, who was a vocal supporter of Mrs. Merkel's refugee policy. There is anger, too. Germany's outspoken Vice-Chancellor Sigmar Gabriel retorted that the migrant crisis was the result of faulty, interventionist American policies in the Mediterranean and Middle East. That Mr. Trump should take aim at Germany's car manufacturers has also raised eyebrows, though few here believe his Congress would approve the 35% tax he appeared to be threatening to impose on imported vehicles. Germans were largely unimpressed by Mr. Trump during his election campaign, and now, despite his own German heritage, the president-elect is doing little to endear himself. On NATO, Mr. Trump reiterated his criticism that a lot of the 28 member states were not paying their fair share. He said the alliance had been forged many years ago, adding, "It's obsolete because it wasn't taking care of terror. And the other thing is the countries aren't paying their fair share, so we're supposed to protect countries. But a lot of these countries aren't paying what they were supposed to be paying, which I think is very unfair to the United States." In an apparent contradiction, Mr. Trump then said NATO was very important to him. What will Trump's foreign policy look like? Speaking later in Brussels, Mr. Steinmeier said the president-elect's comments had caused worry and concern. "I've just had a conversation with the Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, who has expressed concern at the comments made by Donald Trump that NATO is obsolete," he said. This is in contradiction with what the American defense minister said in his hearing in Washington only some days ago, and we have to see what will be the consequences for American policy. At his Senate confirmation hearing last week, Mr. Trump's choice for Defense Secretary, General James Mattis, described NATO as central to US defense, and he accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of trying to break the alliance. A Kremlin spokesman said on Monday that Russia agreed with Mr. Trump's evaluation of NATO, particularly that it had become obsolete. Russian news agency Interfax said, 6 ways the world could change Trump's interview. Key points: Brexit. It was a smart decision by the UK trade deals. We're gonna get something done very quickly. Angela Merkel. She made a catastrophic mistake by letting in 1 million migrants. The EU.